production designers, you'll go into an Asian set, they'll be like, oh, all these Asian things look cool. You're like, you can't have these candles and these like lanterns those are for funerals. Like, because just because something looks good doesn't mean, and feels like they're of the culture doesn't mean that they are. In television, it's a writer's medium. Like, you have a total hold on story and you can control the whole process. And being in a writer's room, it's, again, like, I just knew jack shit for my first few years. You'd go in a room and people would break things down on a board. I was just like, how do you know what's supposed to happen at the end of 3? And they would just, your character setup is here, your turn is here. And then beyond just like story structure, what makes a good story, you have to be able to make a good story and also understand the intricacies of production. And if you're in it long enough, you start to understand the rhythm of your show of like, okay, with the budget we have, with the line producer and the crew we have, I know we have like 8 shooting days. We probably have like 4 days on stage. We have like 3 days we can be out. We can do like one big action sequence. We can do this, that, and the other thing. And the only way you get good at it is by putting in your 10,000 hours. The only reason like I'm a better writer now than I was then is because you just spend less time making dumb decisions or like going down weird garden paths where you're just like, I wonder where this magical thing will lead me. It's like, it's gonna lead you to like 4 days of like no scene is where that's gonna lead you. But you only know that after doing bad, terrible things often enough. Yeah. When I took it on, I remember thinking like, this is never gonna get made. But
why?
Well, because I'd been in the industry long enough and I've been through development often enough, because the studios will tell you like, you know what, we're excited by diverse storytelling, yay us. We're going to just like, because we believe in you and these like characters that look different, we're so ready for this. Like, no, at the end of the day, then they'll pick up another procedural, about like, like a white guy in the Midwest, like
they'll have crime. One Asian person in it.
Yeah, he'll be like the best friend number 3. So but I remember thinking, because I grew up in Malaysia, like Singapore, you guys don't care about like the history of Southeast Asian like geography, but Singapore was a Malaysian state, and my family's not rich, but they are crazy, and like everybody in that book was like, I know these people. These are my aunties, like the Malay, all the different dialects, the food, the culture, the aunties who are just like so far up your ass about everything. I was like, I know this forwards and backwards. If I don't write this, somebody else is going to write it and do it badly, and I'm going to be really pissed off about it. And it wasn't for a lot of money. Like, I was doing fine as a TV, like, room runner and showrunner. I did this because I love John, and I was like, I have to write this. Again, coming to this country, there's so many amazing, important stories about the minority experience, but none of y'all, like, when you like click on Netflix, you're like, you don't pick a movie because of representation. You don't pick it because it's like, oh, this is doing something great for gender representation. Like, you click on something or you pay money to watch at a theater because you want to be transported. You want to be excited by something. Cherry and Teresa, who are the co-writer producers on this, we were just writer geek friends. We had been friends for a long time. We'd go out to restaurants and just tell each other like disgusting stories. It would be almost like this competition of who had like the nastiest story to tell. And we're like, we spent our whole careers like writing for like other people. Like, let's write this for us. We'll write this for us. If nobody wants to make it, which nobody will because this is fucking insane, like, who cares? So they would show up to my living room every Thursday. We got one of those like cheap cardboard like fold out things like you use in like a middle school like school presentation. We
probably use it here.
Yeah. By the way, best screenwriting tool, and like 3x5 cards, and we just threw up a bunch of beats. They're all comedies, so they're just like dick joke, and I'm just like character arc. So we wrote it to make ourselves happy, and then we took it out. And when we took it out, we attached ourselves as producers because, again, like that's, for you, as you figure out like what you want to do. We were used to having all this agency and control as television writers, but in features, we did not have that kind of control, and we wanted it, especially with something as culturally specific as this, or just as specific as this. We just wanted to be involved and continue to be involved in the process. So our agreement among ourselves was that we'll sell it, but only on the condition that we are attached as producers. if you've had to like break any kind of a feature, like your lead character, especially if they're female, is very, very tricky, because the most interesting characters are like your batshit characters, your villain characters, because they can be over the top and, but your lead character has to hold the heart of the movie. So she, and you have like Sherry Cola and Sabrina, being like hilarious and fantastic around her. She has to be able to hold her own with them, be as funny, but she can't be like so completely, on the fringes that we kind of lose track of her, like, because again, like she's your guide throughout the whole movie of how you're supposed to feel. Like she's the main story that you're tracking. I didn't know how funny she was until she got to set. And she's fearless. So you know her sort of like from like Emily in Paris, where she's like, well, pretty girl, like singing things. She is completely fearless when it comes to doing like the weirdest, loudest, most disgusting, nasty things. Even the sex montage scenes, like you write it all down on a paper. You think it's going to be funny, but the reality of shooting it is like you're in a small room with actors who are not wearing a lot of clothes, and you're asking them to do like weird ass shit with each other. Like it takes it's not my face that's going to be on the billboard. It's not my face that's going to be on a huge screen, with your mom and your aunts watching this. So it takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of self-confidence in yourself as a performer to be able to do that. And she had no problem doing it. I have a big like Asian matriarch way of like doing things. Like I feed people a lot. Like I get in real close with all my heads of department. I'm very much into like, we are going out for food. You're going to be so sick of me. I'm going to like talk about my movie like all the time, and I'm going to feed you more food, and you're going to tell me your ideas. And not all their ideas are going to be like things that are used in the movie, but I just am excited that they are excited for this project. The best thing about being a director, you have like this whole crew of people, and all they want to do is make you happy. So you want to make them feel invested in your project. Share your vision. It's not going to be your vision, it's going to be our vision, because all creative people have a fifth gear that they can go into if they care about your project. If they love you, if they love your project, if they feel like they can imprint on your project and make it as much theirs as it is yours, you're going to get just so much more out of everybody. And this is especially important, again, TV training, when you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of money. It's all you have is like passion and people power.